before I realized that Bill Clinton
November 21st, 2025.
deposition was out as well. So we're going to start with Bill. Is that okay? I hope that's okay. And then we can backtrack to Hillary's. We got to start with Bill since they put it out like this because we know he had a friendship with Epstein. Let's go.
Letter from Chairman Comer to David E. Kendall. December 10th, 2025. Letter from David E. Kendall to Chairman Comer and Ranking Member Garcia. December 15th, 2025. Letter from Chairman Comer to David E. Kendall. January 3rd, 2025. Letter from David E. Kendall to Chairman Comer and Ranking Member Garcia. December 15th, 2025. Letter from Chairman Comer to David E. Kendall. January 3rd, 2026. Letter from David E. Kendall to Chairman Comer and Ranking Member Garcia. January 8th, 2026. Letter from Chairman Comer to David E. Kendall. January 12th, 2026. Letter from Ashley Cowan and David E. Kendall to Chairman Comer. January 13th, 2026. Letter from William J. Clinton and Secretary Hillary R. Clinton to Chairman Comer, encompassing attached declarations under the penalty of perjury from both President Clinton and Secretary Clinton. January 20th, 2026, letter from Ashley Cowan and David E. Kendall to Chairman Comer. January 31st, 2026, letter from Ashley Cowan and Catherine M. Turner to Chairman Comer. And February 2nd, 2026, letter from Chairman Comer to Ashley Cowan and Catherine M. Turner. The committee originally noticed the deposition for President Clinton on December 12th, 2025. I will mark that notice as Exhibit 3. I will mark as Exhibit 4 the notice dated December 16th, 2025 for a deposition of President Clinton to occur on January 13th, 2026. President Clinton did not appear for his deposition on January 13th, 2026. I will enter as Exhibit 5 the transcript for the deposition that President Clinton failed to appear for. The committee noticed a committee business meeting on January 14th, 2026 to consider the contempt report for President William J. Clinton held on January 21st, 2026. I will mark that notice as Exhibit 6. I will mark as Exhibit 7 the contempt report for President William J. Clinton voted favorably out of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform on January 21st, 2026. I will mark as Exhibit 8 the final roll call vote sheet on favorably reporting the contempt report of President William J. Clinton out of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform on January 21st, 2026. The committee noticed today's deposition on February 19th, 2026. I will enter the notice for this deposition as Exhibit 9. I will enter as Exhibit 10 the email thread between Committee on Oversight and Government Reform staff and counsel for President Clinton and Secretary Clinton. The email thread confirms the date, time, and location, among other terms, of today's deposition. Additionally, this email thread clearly states the agreed upon terms, including but not limited to video recording, no predetermined time limit, and scope. The agreed upon scope from the email marked as Exhibit 10 is as follows. Pursuant to the committee's investigation into the alleged mismanagement of the federal government's investigation into Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, the circumstances and subsequent investigations of Mr. Epstein's death, the operation of sex trafficking rings and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them, ways in which Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell sought to curry favor and exercise influence to protect their illegal activities, and potential violations of ethics rules related to elected officials, the committee will ask President Clinton and Secretary Clinton all of its questions regarding Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, including but not limited to the personal relationships between the Clintons and Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and the ways in which Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell sought to curry favor and exercise influence, as well as the operation of sex trafficking rings and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them, without the proposed limitations on scope sought in your January 31st, 2026 letter. Can the witness please state his name for the record?
William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you. My name is Jack Emmer, and I am the Chief Counsel of Investigations for Chairman Comer. Under the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform's rules, you are allowed to have counsel present to advise you during this deposition. Do you have counsel representing you in a personal capacity present with you today?
I do.
Will counsel please identify themselves for the record?
David Kendall, Williams and Connolly, LLP.
Catherine Turner, Williams and Connolly, LLP.
Cheryl Mills, counsel to the
When it get hot in here,
Thank you. Starting with the majority, can members of
Joe.
Congress in attendance please identify themselves for the record?
Billy. Yes, James Comer, Chairman of the Committee from Kentucky.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace, South Carolina.
Eric Burleson from Missouri.
Congressman John McGuire, Virginia 5.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna from Florida's 13th District.
William Timmons, South Carolina.
Glenn Groveman, Wisconsin.
Ranking Member Garcia, California.
Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, New Mexico.
Congressman Suhas Subramaniam, Virginia 11.
Congresswoman Emily Randall, Washington State.
Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, Arizona 3rd.
Congressman Maxwell Frost, Florida 10.
Congressman Wesley Bell, Missouri 7th District, St. Louis.
James Walkinshaw, Virginia's 11th District. Ro Khanna, California 17.
Lauren Boebert, Colorado's 4th District.
Thank you. For the record, starting with the majority staff, can the additional staff members please introduce themselves with their name, title, and affiliation?
Billy Grant, Deputy Chief Counsel for Investigations for Chairman Comer.
Peter Spector, Deputy Director of Oversight for Chairman Comer.
Daniel Ashworth, General Counsel for Chairman Comer.
Ryan Giacchetti, Chief Counsel for Chairman Comer.
Will Harness, Professional Staff Member for Chairman Comer.
Hannah Cathy, Professional Staff Member for Chairman Comer.
a lot of people there.
Legal Director for Chairman Comer.
Olson Tolan, counsel for Chairman Comer. Emily Fire-Alden, counsel for Chairman.
Mark Moran, Staff Director for Chairman Comer. Austin Hacker.
They saying 500 U.S. troops
Legendary Deputy Staff Director for Chairman Comer.
dead. They went on hold. Minority staff. Okay.
Thank you all. President Clinton, before we begin, I would like to go over the ground rules for this deposition. The questioning will proceed in rounds. The majority will ask questions for an hour, and then the minority will have an opportunity to ask questions for an hour if they choose. To the extent members have questions for the witness, they will be propounded during their side's respective rounds. The clock will stop if you need to confer with counsel. Your counsel is speaking, and when members or staff are speaking during the opposing side's rounds of questions. We will alternate back and forth until there are no more questions. Do you understand?
Yes.
There is a court reporter taking down everything I say and everything you say to make a written record of the interview. For the record to be clear, please wait until the staffer questioning you finishes each question before you begin your answer, and the staffer will wait until you finish your response before proceeding to the next question. Further, to ensure the court reporter can properly record this deposition, please speak clearly, concisely, and slowly. Also, the court reporter cannot record nonverbal answers, such as nodding or shaking your head, so it is important that you answer each question with an audible verbal answer. Do you understand?
I do.
Exhibits may be entered into the record. Majority exhibits will be identified numerically. Minority exhibits will be identified alphabetically. Do you understand?
Yes.
We want you to answer our questions in the most complete and truthful manner possible, so we will take our time. If you have any questions or do not fully understand the question, please let us know. We will attempt to clarify, add context to, or rephrase our questions. If we ask about specific conversations or events in the past, and you are unable to recall the exact words or details, you should testify to the substance of those conversations or events to the best of your recollection. If you recall only a part of a conversation or event, you should give us your best recollection of those events or parts of conversations that you do recall. Do you understand?
Yes.
You are required by law to answer questions from
got you
Congress
one.
truthfully. This also applies to questions posed by
Got you.
congressional
Don't
staff
come in
as
here on that
deposition. Do you
AI
understand?
shit. Don't do
If
that.
at any time you knowingly make false statements,
You didn't
could
even
be
hit the like
subject to
button.
criminal
Please don't come in here on no
prosecution,
AI.
but not limited to perjury. Do you understand?
Yes.
This includes both knowingly providing false testimony,
That's so
but also stating that
disrespectful.
you do not recall.
If you don't want to
remember
watch it,
something
don't watch
in
it.
fact you do. Do you understand?
Yes.
Furthermore, you cannot tell half-truths or exclude information necessary to make statements accurate. You are required to provide all information that would make your response truthful. A deliberate failure to disclose information can constitute a false statement. Do you understand?
I do.
Is there any reason you are unable to provide truthful testimony in
Yeah,
today's
I
interview?
got the one where
I don't
Hillary
believe so.
lost it when she found out
Please
that they
note
was.
that if you wish to assert a privilege over any statement today, that assertion must comply with the rules of the key oversight.
Let me pause before it get taken down. I got it where Hillary. Oh, it's in my ear. Dang. Never mind. Y'all kill me with that AI mess. Y'all would rather sit up and listen to somebody lie. I mean, although it's not AI, but y'all would rather sit up and listen to somebody lie to y'all versus somebody using AI to get their message out, but telling the truth. That blow my mind. Is that AI? Well, Trump will sit up there and lie. Get up there, oh, we did not start this war, knowing good and damn well he did. But y'all rock with that. That blow my mind. Yeah, y'all need to come off of that. Don't come over here on that. Because that'll get your head brought to you. That don't make no sense to me. All they do over there is sit over there and lie. And y'all run with it. Run with it and repeat it. But you come over here for the first time asking me if some AI. Get your ass up out of here.
Government reform. Pursuant to that, Committee Rule 16C1 states, for the chair to consider assertions of privilege over testimony or statements, witnesses or entities must clearly state the specific privilege being asserted and the reason for the assertion on or before the scheduled date of testimony or appearance. For the purposes of this deposition,
he nervous,
objections
y'all.
must be stated concisely
A
in
mad
a
one.
non-argumentative or non-suggestive manner. If the witness refuses to answer a question to preserve a privilege, the committee may seek a ruling from the chair. If the chair overrules any such objection, the witness shall be ordered to answer. If the witness continues to refuse to answer a question despite being ordered to do so, the witness may be subject to sanction. Do you understand?
Yes.
Ordinarily, we take a 5-minute break at the end of each hour of questioning, but if you need a longer break or a break before that, please let us know and we will be happy to accommodate. However, to the extent that there is a pending question, we would ask that you finish answering the question before we take a break. Do you understand?
Yes.
Finally, I will note for everyone here today
Hey,
that the
Cynthia.
contents of what we discuss in the deposition today is confidential under the House deposition regulation. Under the rules, the chairman and ranking...
Let me pause for a minute. I want to get to where Hillary went off.
I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nia Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There are
another.
photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go on
I did
the record.
post one, oh, for heaven's
So I would like
sake.
to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was, it doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
She was finna cuss her out.
Yeah,
I
well,
would like to take a break at this point.
She was about to say we all about by the same.
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go on
I
the
did
record.
post one, oh, for heaven's
So I would
sake.
like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was, it doesn't matter. We same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, well,
I would like to take a break at this
yeah,
moment. I'd like to have
I'm done for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Go off the record. Go off the record. Yeah.
of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how
I'm
that
done
can
with
occur?
this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now till the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off
I
the
did
record.
post one,
Oh, for
So I
heaven's
would like
sake.
to understand how that's permissible.
before the hearing was,
It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
I
well,
would like to take a break at this moment.
yeah,
I'd like to have
I'm done for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Off the record. They went. Hold on. We go.
We'll get back on the record. The majority's time had approximately 5 minutes left in it. I believe that the witness or her counsel would like to make a quick statement.
Thank you so much. We just used the break because we learned during the process of these hearings that the committee was violating its own rules in members tweeting and sharing pictures of what is going on inside this closed hearing, a hearing that we have asked repeatedly to be open to the public. Chairman Comer was gracious enough to engage with me on this matter. We asked specifically to invite the press in, since the committee had already made decisions on its own unilaterally to release pictures and other things that are going on in this room. He indicated that he wanted to speak to that himself directly. I'd like to just say for the record, we find it unacceptable, we find it unprofessional, and we find it unfair. We are looking forward to this being conducted under the rules and being conducted consistent with the expectations of how members of Congress, I know, take this matter so seriously and do it in that vein. We would also like to just indicate as a practical reality that we are here in good faith. We are counting on the good faith of all the members.
Thank you. Chairman Comer.
I'd like to state for the record, I've advised my members that no photos or videos during the deposition can be released. I understand the posted photo was taken before the deposition started. That will not happen again, and we will look forward to continue with the deposition.
I'd like to make just a clarification there, Mr. Chairman. It was taken in this room after the witness sat down. It is not a basis that because she had not started speaking that it would be appropriate for there to have been a release of anything that was occurring in this room.
And we have made clear that that's not allowed, and I will also say we were disappointed that the Secretary's opening statement was leaked to the press before she even gave her opening statement.
So the Secretary's statement was not leaked to the press. It was provided, as with other witnesses, including Mr. Wexner, who provided his before giving. Hers was given simultaneous. And so what we don't want is the Secretary to be treated any differently than other witnesses. That seems to be a consistent pattern, and we would love that pattern not to continue.
We've gone to great lengths to make all the accommodations that you all have requested. So we will, again, the members have been advised that is unacceptable. So
Thank you.
we look forward to continuing the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you addressing that.
Ranking Member Garcia.
Thank you. Now, I just want to add, it's completely unacceptable that Oversight Republicans and its members in this moment chose to violate both committee rules and the agreement that they negotiated directly with Secretary Clinton. Now, the Clintons requested a public hearing specifically to avoid this exact situation.
Did.
Now, Secretary Clinton has offered to continue speaking throughout the deposition if we also allow the press to come in and on the record. Now, the majority has continued to refuse this. I want to make it very clear for the record that Oversight Democrats agree today they should be allowed into the deposition. That's been our position from day one. Thank you.
And with that, the majority will conclude its first hour. We'll go off the record.
Baby, hold on. Let's go back to Bill.
Release of testimony or transcripts, including portions thereof. This means it is a violation of House Review rules to disclose the contents of the deposition prior to its official release. For this reason, the marked exhibits that we will use today will remain with the court reporter so that they can go into the official transcript, and any copies of those exhibits will be kept at the table or returned to us when we wrap up. Can the reporter please swear in the witness?
Would you raise your hand, please? Do you solemnly declare and affirm, under the penalty of perjury, that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Do you have any questions before we begin?
No.
I have a comment before we begin, please. Mr. Chairman, I wanted to start out by saying, as you know, yesterday there was a photo released, and I appreciate you assuring and admonishing the committee and all of us of our obligations. Obviously, we want to ensure that that doesn't happen again. We obviously experienced a number of deep fakes that have now been circulating on the web, not because of anything that the committee did, but because of the release of this particular photograph. And for that reason, I would ask two things. One, a reminder to all that the obligation to maintain what is occurring in this room occurs. And two, a release of the video of the Secretary's testimony as soon as possible, ideally today, which was in 24 hours, and the same for the President.
That didn't
so
happen.
There are not deep fakes.
They started a war.
Representing what is happening here when they actually have not.
Yeah, and let me say, yesterday that was an unfortunate situation. We had probably two things that shouldn't have happened. The release of the photo as well as Democrat member communicating with the New York Times. So I will again remind everyone to refrain from sending pictures or texting with media outlets outside. Meldon is our videographer.
They always got to find something to pin on the Democrats. Always. When they have screwed up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. Nothing more.
Mr. President, do you wish to provide an opening statement?
I do. It's brief. First of all, good morning and welcome to all of you to our hometown. I appreciate you coming here. I'm here today basically for two reasons. First of all, I love my country and the Constitution, and I believe America was built on the idea that no one is above the law, especially presidents, and that we should all live by the same set of rules shaped by the Constitution. Democracy requires every person to play their part, and I hope that by being here today, we can bring ourselves a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and search for the truth and justice, and that outweighs the partisan urge for spectacle and point scoring. I will do my part, and I hope you'll do yours. The second reason I'm here is that the girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing. They've been waiting too long for both. Through my brief acquaintance with Jeffrey Epstein, though it ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication of what was going on, I'm here to offer what little I know so I can do my part to prevent something like this from happening again. I have to just say one personal thing. Since Hillary came in yesterday, she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing. There's a picture of us both shaking hands with him in a photo line in 1993 at a fundraiser for the White House Historical Association. I don't know how it is under President Trump, but when I was there, it was about the most non-political operation you can imagine. There were people who love the White House, who were interested in it, would give a little money every year to do things that need doing around the house. And nothing nearly as extravagant as the ballroom or any of that, just things that had to be done. And neither she nor I remembered shaking his hand all those years ago. So I don't think that was right. On the other hand, I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him. and you have a right to ask those questions. So I'm glad to be here, and I understand what the oath is. I have to be honest with you. You know, I'll be 80 years old if I live to my next birthday. I don't remember everything that happened 24 years ago, but I do remember some things, and I will tell you what I remember as best I can. We, each of us, are the victims, nothing less than the truth and accuracy. We owe that to the American people. And I actually hope that you will be able to come up with some suggestions that will reduce human trafficking and especially focus on underage girls. I hope you'll be able to do that. I know that they already talked a little yesterday about what the State Department does and what she pushed on human trafficking and girls when she was Secretary of State. We had to deal with it. And in my foundation, I saw it in Nigeria when Boko Haram was rampaging through the north of Nigeria. And we were working there trying to stop deaths from diarrhea for the young children. And it was interesting. These guys were cold and calculated. They said, oh, you don't have to leave because the kids you're helping are younger than the ones we want. They have to be about 9 before they're worth anything to us. So this is really important. And I will do what I can to make whatever contribution I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
The time reads 11:28, and the majority's time will begin now. Mr. President, thank you for agreeing to testify today and for your years of service to our country. I want to start from the beginning. When did you first meet Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, I will try in this testimony, and I will point it out when I will wear this a picture or something that predates us. There's a picture that shows him shaking hands in the White House Historical Association reception. That was in 1993, but I'm not aware of that. I first remember meeting him when I got on his airplane to take the first trip with my foundation in, I think, 2002, whenever it was.
And to be clear, do you have any reason to believe that you may have met Mr. Epstein prior to becoming President of the United States?
Before I became president, no.
And you mentioned that your first memory of interacting with Mr. Epstein was on your first trip. Which trip specifically?
I'm not sure which one it was. Which one was the first? I took all the parts of 4 or 5 trips to Asia and Africa and one to North Europe on Mr. Epstein's airplane. And once when I was in Florida, I was offered to ride back to New York, but I wasn't there having an end. It was just coincidental that he was there, and I think that was fairly early in the process. I don't remember exactly. I just know that I did. I took one flight back from Florida to New York, and all a part of several other, I think 4 or 5 trips to Africa, Asia, and one to Northern Europe.
And I want to make sure the record is clear. Is it your testimony today that you have no independent recollection whatsoever of the circumstances of when you first met Mr. Epstein?
Objection asked and answered.
Yes, I do have a recollection of when I remember meeting him before this trip. I mean, on this trip, when I took his plane.
He said
Mr.
he too
President,
old to remember
we're gonna
exact date.
discuss more specifics later, but for the record, can you briefly describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Well, sometime after I left the White House, either in late 2001 or early-ish in 2002, I received a call from Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury, and was then President of Harvard. And he said that he was calling because a man named Jeffrey Epstein, who had made a substantial commitment of several $1 million, I think it was 10, but whatever it was, to brain research, and that he was a information hungry person, and he wanted to spend some time talking to me about economics and politics. And he said he's got this massive airplane, and he said he would take you, your staff, your Secret Service detail, anybody else you wanted to bring on the trips that he knew I was planning to set up a global network to provide life-saving AIDS medicine to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. And I should back up and say, when I left office, we had done all the preliminary work to set up the global fund on AIDS, TB, and malaria, but it was not yet funded. And there were other instruments and institutions that were later funded, including President Bush's PEPFAR program. It had not yet been funded. There were only 200,000 people in the entire developing world who had AIDS medicine. Most of them in Brazil, which had a big drug operation on its own, and in Thailand, which also had its own drug population. In Africa, there were like 30,000 people or something, just next to no people. And they were down like flies. And I thought we had found a way to drastically drive the price down. And that if we could drive the price down, we could, and empower people to administer the medicine right, we could save a lot of lives. And I was obsessed with it. And I was being helped by a man named Our Magazine who had helped us in the White House, and whom I had known since we lived as Rhodes Scholars together in the 1960s. So anyway, that's why when Larry Summers said this, I thought, boy, this would be great. And so we followed up and took the trips.
Mr. President, when did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
When did it end? Well, I believe I took my last flight in 2003. Now, later I became aware of some involvement he had in the first Clinton Global Initiative, but it was much later.
Why did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
Oh, Lord, this is...
Well, after a year or two, we really picked up a head of steam with this AIDS program, and a lot of other people whom I knew better and who really cared about the work came forward and offered to help us provide transportation. And I thought Mr. Epstein was an interesting man, but I didn't think he was really interested in what I was doing. Because he asked all these questions. He did ask about economics and politics, as he said he would. And he never asked me anything untoward. It's just that I thought I had done what I promised to do, and he had done what he promised to do. And I've always, over the years, with these donors, tried not to overstay my welcome. I thought that we'd done enough, and it's time to start working with other people.
When did you first learn of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes?
I think in 2008 when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him. It made me realize he was trafficking women, and I never.
Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. When did you first meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I believe I first met her with him when she was working with him.
And what did you understand Miss Maxwell, and what did you understand her relationship to be with Mr. Epstein?
I thought she was sort of his chief of staff or administrator.
And you said that you first met Miss Maxwell with Mr. Epstein. Is that after you were president?
Yeah, I don't believe I met her when I was president. I could have. I met a lot of people, I don't remember, but I definitely remember meeting her on that first flight.
Can you briefly, for the record, describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Miss Maxwell?
Yes, it was. It lasted longer and was more extensive than my relationship with Mr. Epstein, because Ghislaine Maxwell started going with a man named Ted Wake, who had made a lot of money making the first sort of self-designed computers. And he was a big supporter of
Going with
mine and the foundation before he started seeing Glenn. We'd been friends, and he was interested particularly in reducing pollution in the oceans. And so when she started going with him, I would see her from time to time.
And when did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
I don't think I've seen her in a decade. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know exactly when.
Why did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
Well, at first she moved to Boston, I think. She had a relationship with a man there, and I think they may have married. And so she wasn't so much around, and then when it became, after 2019, when it became obvious that she was involved too, to an extent that I did not know, that was the end of it.
And I want to make sure the record is clear. You mentioned that your relationship with Miss Maxwell was more extensive than that of Mr. Epstein.
But it lasted longer, yeah.
Okay. When do you have any recollection of what year it would have ended?
No, but when she was with Ted White, she was when we were kicking off CGI. She was very interested in that, and she participated. But I don't remember, I don't know, it's been 10, 12 years since I saw her. I don't remember when the last time was.
Thank you. I am going to ask you some baseline questions regarding who you communicated with and about what. If you don't recall specifics, but do recall you communicated with them,
Hey,
you should
Naturally
answer
Norma.
yes, but say you do not
Thank
recall
you.
specifics.
Council, could I just ask, if you're going down a list, your question is, did he communicate with the person, yes or no? And then you'll come back if he says yes to ask further.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I will finish the fact here too. So the question, Mr. President, have you ever communicated with any of the following people regarding Mr. Jeffrey Epstein or Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell? And for now, you can say yes or no, and we will come back to discuss each one.
And this is to the best of his recollection, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, thanks, Lou.
Okay,
First, Richard Kahn.
Richard who?
Kahn,
T-O-D-D?
K-A-H-N.
I don't know who that is.
Darren Indike.
Indike?
Correct.
I don't know who that is.
Sarah Kellen.
I don't know who that is.
Huma Abedin.
Yes.
Well, excuse me, Mr. President, the question is, as I understand it, name the people you communicated to about Epstein and Maxwell.
Oh, obviously I know Huma very well. And I don't remember any specific conversations we ever had about Epstein and Maxwell.
Noam Chomsky.
No. Mr. Chomsky wasn't a big fan of mine. He thought I was too conservative.
Leslie Groff.
Leslie who?
Groff.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
Nadia Marcinkova.
I don't know who that is.
Jean-Luc Brunel.
I don't know who that is, I don't believe.
Alan Dershowitz.
I know him. And I'm not aware that we ever talked about Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't believe we did.
Reid Hoffman.
I know Reid Hoffman, but he never talked to me about Mr. Epstein or Miss Maxwell.
Karina Shuliak.
I don't believe I know who that is. I don't think I've ever met that person.
Woody Allen.
I do know who he is, but I don't think I ever met him, and I never talked to him about Epstein or Maxwell.
Sammy Berger.
Sammy Berger was my national security advisor, and we were very close personally, but he's been dead for several years. And I don't think I ever talked to him about either one of those people.
Jess Staley.
Jess Staley?
Correct.
No.
Paul Morris.
I don't believe I know him.
Ellie D. Rothschild.
Who Rothschild?
The Golden
Ellie D.
Rothschilds.
LED? I know Evelyn Rothschild. Is that who it is?
No, and I have other Rothschilds on this list as well.
I'm not sure who LED Rothschild is. I've met a bunch of them when I spoke at the funeral for Evelyn Rothschild. And I have met some of the others, the one couple in France once 20 years ago, but I don't remember him.
Lynn Borser Rothschild.
Yes, I know her. but I don't remember ever discussing Jeffrey Epstein or Glenn Maxwell with it.
Glenn Dubin.
I don't believe I know him.
Eva Anderson.
I don't believe I know her.
Ain't that actresses
Casey
Glenn Dubin?
Wasserman.
I know him, and he was on a trip to Africa with me.
Who?
But I don't recall ever discussing either Glenn Maxwell.
Glenn Dubin.
I don't believe I know him.
Eva Anderson.
I don't believe I know her.
Casey Wasserman.
I know him, and he was on a trip to Africa with me. But I don't recall ever discussing either Glenn Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein with him.
Ira Magaziner.
Yes, I think I mentioned him earlier. He was the person who basically helped me start the AIDS program, and he ran the Clinton Health Access Initiative for many years. He retired a couple of years ago, a few years ago. But I don't remember ever discussing either Epstein or Rothschild with him, or Maxwell with him.
Karen Ewing.
No.
Stacy Plaskett.
Stacy Plaskett is the member of Congress from the Virgin Islands, isn't she?
Correct.
I will fall out.
But
I
don't
can't
recall
tell a
ever
lie. I
discussing
would be so
Epstein
weak
or
trying
Maxwell.
to.
Howard Lutnick.
You know
Howard
him.
Lutnick is the Secretary of Commerce. Right?
Correct.
I know him and from 9/11, and because Hillary worked with his company and helped him to get going again. But, and I know he's now President Trump's Secretary of Commerce, but I don't remember ever having any conversation with him about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell.
Doug Bann.
And he worked for me for years. And I know that he arranged like airplane flights and things like that, and was doing work on the first Clinton Global Initiative in 2005. And I know that he knew both Epstein and Maxwell. I do not know to what extent he was in contact with them, and I heard things in the last thing I didn't have any idea 24 years ago, so you'd have to be more specific if you want to know if I knew something then. I can tell you as best I can, but he worked for me, and I knew some of what he was doing, and I didn't know some of what he was doing.
Thank you, and we will return to Mr. Bann. Louis Freed.
So all of these people that they're naming are in the Epstein files, but they say it's not a list, right?
To the best of my knowledge,
it ain't no list though.
I didn't have any conversations with him about anything practically, but I certainly didn't talk to him about this.
Robert Rubin.
Bob Rubin was Larry Summers' predecessor as Treasury Secretary and the first director of the National Economic Council. But I don't even know if he knew Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. I had no conversation with him about it.
And for now, Mr. President, you can answer yes or no.
And not alphabetical either.
And the yes or no is intended to convey whether I had a conversation
yes,
about
it's a list.
Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey.
Yeah.
So the answer to Rubin is no.
Larry Summers.
Yes.
Pete Rathgeb.
Pete who?
Rathgeb,
Rathko, R-A-T-H-K-O?
R-A-T-H-G-E.
Oh, Rathko, I don't recall that name.
John Podesta.
I don't believe I ever had a talk with John about it. I did stay in touch with John Podesta after I left the White House. And I consider him a friend, but I don't believe we ever discussed Epstein or Maxwell.
Andrew Friendly.
No, he was one of my, what you call body men at the White House. And we've stayed in touch over the years, but I don't remember discussing Epstein or Maxwell with him.
Catherine Rumler.
Kathy Rumler is a lawyer who has done some, on occasion, some help for the foundation. I don't believe I ever discussed Maxwell or Epstein with him, but I can't be sure, but I don't remember doing it.
Mr. President, they're only asking you what you can remember.
What?
They're only asking you what you can remember.
Mark Middleton.
I did not, and he sadly is dead now.
Bill Richardson.
No, he's dead too now, sadly, but I didn't know about his relationship with Epstein.
Why we just can't say
George
no or
Mitchell.
yes?
No,
Bill Gates.
Yes.
no,
You don't.
Leon
Oh,
Black.
you never talked to him about Epstein.
Ayud Barak.
no,
Not Barack Obama.
no.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
I knew that he knew, at some point I knew that he knew Ghislaine Maxwell. But I did not know, I don't think that he knew Epstein.
So is that a yes that you had communications with him?
No, we never had anything.
Is your question communications about Epstein and Maxwell?
Correct.
Just generally as a conversation like you're together? Can you just
Yes.
elaborate more so we can better answer your question?
Mr. President, did you ever have any communications with Prince Andrew related to Mr. Epstein or Miss Maxwell?
The direct answer to your question is no, but I don't want to mislead you. I know that because of my friendship with Evelyn Rothschild, and because the former prince was around them, and they knew Ghislaine Maxwell from Britain, and through her father, her late father. There may have been some conversation there. I don't remember it, but I don't want to mislead you. I knew something that.
Thank you.
Your question, because it's so broad, means that any social engagement
I-
that you might have would be captured.
Yeah,
So
I
I think
didn't-
what he's trying to
don't-
distinguish between is what you're trying to learn and just social engagement.
Yes.
If I had a social engagement with Andrew,
Related to Mr. Epstein?
not related to him, no,
Thank you. Peter Mandelson.
no,
Mohammed bin Salman.
no,
Larry Page.
no,
Sergey Brin.
no.
So let's talk about Larry Summers. You mentioned that you had communications with him related to Maxwell and Epstein. What were the nature of those?
For the record, he said with Epstein, just to
Just
clarify.
Epstein.
Just Epstein. Thank you. You mentioned that you had communications with Larry Summers related to Mr. Epstein. Can you describe the nature of those communications?
Yes. As I said before, he called me on the phone. He knew what I was trying to do with this AIDS work. and how important it was to me. And he said he had just talked to Jeffrey Epstein, who he's described as a successful investment advisor who made a lot of money and had made a large commitment to Harvard to brain research. And he said he wants to talk to you about politics and economics, and he says if you will take an hour on the longer legs of these trips he knows you're going to make to Africa and Asia to talk to him about it, that he will fly you on his airplane, and your staff, and your Secret Service detail, and any other people you want to take who are supporting your work.
And you mentioned these communications were related to the work of your foundation. Did you ever have any other communications with Larry Summers related to Mr. Epstein?
No.
So, for the record, you never discussed anything related to Mr. Epstein and young women or girls?
Absolutely not.
Mr. President, for the record, have you ever been contacted by any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
As far as I know, no. That is, as far as I remember. Back in 2008, I sort of thought somebody might ask me something.
He thought.
Because I was glad this had come out since it had happened. But I don't believe anybody ever did.
You mentioned that you thought someone would want to ask you something. Can you elaborate on what that means?
Just because he let me use this airplane.
And to be clear, have you ever provided any information to any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Miss Ghislaine Maxwell?
So you asked this question before, you're just asking him to reiterate the response to the question that he previously asked you, Mr. President?
I don't believe any law enforcement agency has ever asked me. And I didn't know enough to volunteer anything.
Mr. President, are you aware of any efforts by anyone, including an attorney, process server, investigator, or any other person to contact you regarding any civil lawsuit, claim, or litigation involving Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
Not that I recall.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever inform or represent to you that he was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
Did Ghislaine Maxwell ever inform or represent to you that she was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
And during your relationship, did you ever suspect Epstein or Maxwell of being affiliated with any intelligence agency?
I did not.
Thank you. I want to talk about your time in the White House. I realize that you have testified, your recollection is limited, but did Mr. Epstein ever visit the White House while you were president?
Objection. Asked and answered. The records reflect that he did.
That's not the question.
According to FOIA requests to the Clinton Library, Mr. Epstein visited the White House at least 17 times between 1993 and 1995. Do you have any reason to dispute those numbers?
Nope. I don't.
Do you know what the nature of Mr. Epstein's visits to the White House were?
Are you asking what he knew in preparation for today? Can you clarify what you are seeking to learn?
First of all, at the time, I had no idea he was coming and going. Huge numbers of people come and go in the White House. A lot of them come well over once, especially if they're lobbyists, for example. But I didn't know he was coming, so I certainly didn't know what he was coming about.
Mr. President, after you left office, did you or your staff ever conduct a review of records, documents, or other materials related to Mr. Epstein's connections to your White House?
You're exempting counsel. You can respond to that, but don't say anything about what you talked to your lawyers about. You can respond to this question.
Give me the question again.
Yeah, I don't even understand. You mean, did we look into what he did in the White House after I left office?
Mr. President, one of the concerns of the committee is how Mr. Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell attempted or potentially attempted to curry favor with influential figures. My question was, after you left office, did you or your staff ever conduct a review of records related to Mr. Epstein's connections to your White House?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
At this time, I would like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 11. And while it's being passed out, I will note for the record, this is a New York Times article entitled The Untold Story of How Jeffrey Epstein Got Rich, published on December 16th, 2025. And when you receive the article, I want to direct your attention to the last paragraph of page 31.
The last paragraph of which page?
31. And when you are ready, I will also read it into the record. Again, we are looking at page 31 in the last paragraph, and I will read it into the record and ask you a few questions.
Please give him a moment to read this.
I see this.
This is the paragraph.
Yes.
Mr. President, the article reads, by 1995, Clinton and Epstein were sufficiently chummy that he wrote a get well soon note to Epstein's ailing mother. Hang in there, the president scrawled on a yellow post-it, which Epstein saved and we reviewed. Mr. President, did you write this note?
Are you asking if he recalls writing this note from 1995 on a post-it?
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Just to clarify.
It looks like my handwriting, but I don't recall, but I will tell you this. I have written get well notes to lots of people I did not know and had never met.
And you answered my next question. Did you ever meet Jeffrey Epstein's mother or any of his family members?
No, I'm not sure that I was asked to do this by Jeffrey Epstein.
And I want to focus specifically on the article's characterization. It says that you were chummy with Mr. Epstein in 1995. Is that accurate?
No, I'm going to object to that characterization. It's hearsay. The president may answer.
No. I was surprised by that.
talk about your relationship with Mr. Epstein after you left the White House.
Okay.
How would you characterize your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Mr.
Well,
President, do you have a question for you?
During the time it was cordial.
At any time, would you characterize Mr. Epstein as a friend?
We were friendly, but I didn't know him well enough to say we were friends.
How often did you communicate with Mr. Epstein?
Usually only on the trips. I did go to his house once, as you know.
And we will discuss that further later on today. And how did you typically communicate with Mr. Epstein? Did you talk to him on the phone?
Excuse me, he just said he talked to him on the trips, so that's in person.
Typically, my staff communicated with him. And I think it was mostly Mr. Band, but somebody talked to him.
And you mentioned that you visited one of his properties. But outside of the work on the foundation and your trips, how many times did you meet in person with Mr. Epstein?
You're asking him to the best of his recollection.
Outside of the trips, I believe he came to the office once in Harlem. I was still housed up there then. And I think he paid a brief visit to the office. And I paid a brief visit to his house.
Thank you, Mrs. Tom.
I once thought he was there, but now that I think about it, I don't think he was. And that was it. I mean, I didn't. That's what I remember.
And you mentioned you visited Mr. Epstein's house. Are you referring to his New York townhouse?
Yes.
And your communications with Mr. Epstein, did you ever have any communications that were not related to the foundation?
I don't believe we ever talked about anything but the work we were doing. I mean, maybe small talk, I can't imagine. I don't remember the conversations.
And for the record, before we move on, did you ever have any communications with Mr. Epstein that related to young women or girls?
No.
Excuse me, do you have your, fantastic, thank you very much.
You wanna go? Good morning, Mr. President, how are you?
Fine.
I want to first start out by asking you, have you ever been or traveled on, or has Huma Abedin ever traveled on Epstein's plane?
If you know.
I don't know. She might have taken one of the trips with us, but I don't know.
Okay, so have you flown on a plane with her?
Several times.
Several times?
When you say have you flown on a plane, any plane?
The Lolita Express.
What is that, when you say that?
Have you flown on the Lolita Express
I don't know
with
what
Jeffrey?
Objection.
I don't know what that is.
Have you flown on Jeffrey Epstein's plane
He said,
with
yeah.
Huma Abedin?
Ask and answer, you can answer again.
I don't remember, but but I have flown. She's been sort of a part of our family for a very long time. So when I went to the Middle East, which I don't think I ever took a plane ride with Jeffrey Epstein, but she would typically go when I did.
So have you traveled with both of them together?
Excuse me, both of whom, Congressman?
Of course. Have you traveled with Jeffrey Epstein and Huma Abedin together?
I do not know.
Okay, thank you. If the staff can please pass out EFTA 0021628 and the rest of the documents I have them print regarding passports to the President and Council.
This will be Exhibit 12.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if you look at the passport page, at the bottom of the document should show the EFTA number. It's 00021628.
Yep.
There's a name on there. Would you be able to read that name to me?
Can you read the name?
Excuse me, Congressman,
Yes.
will you ask me if you've ever seen the document before?
Yes, well, this is evidence, and so I wanted to ask him specifically. So it's from the DOJ document release, right?
I understand, but he may not have seen it, or he may have seen it.
No, I've never seen it, but it looks like a passport.
Okay. Can you tell me the name that's listed on the passport?
Excuse me, he's never seen this document. Would you just read the name, please?
Yes, the name is Marius Robert.
Marius Robert, yeah.
Are you familiar with that name at all?
No,
Okay. Would you be able to identify the individual in the photo?
it looks like Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, the reason I ask you about this specifically is because I do believe that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence operative. And so this was a passport that was actually entered in and released by the Department of Justice, but this was an FBI filing. It was found in his safe, if you will. So it's an alias. So the reason I ask you that is because given your nature and position, I'm wondering if you were essentially targeted by a honeypot operation and or by intelligence to gather information. So that's why I asked you that question.
Well, if there was a
Mr. President, there's not a question pending.
is there a question?
No. You can ask a question.
Well, I'll be getting to more, but that's the reason I asked that. Okay, my next question for you is, have you ever had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies?
I believe Shantae that's a distinctive name, and so I think that was the name of one of his flight attendants.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffrey, who has testified seeing you on the island with the two young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
I don't know.
Objection, speculation, he can't
I
possibly.
love how they call
Have
him
you
Mr.
have you ever
President.
met her or any other Epstein associated underage girl?
And they
Not to
call
my knowledge.
Mr. Dunn.
In Epstein's 2016 deposition unsealed in the TOJ files, he refused to answer if you were accompanied by two young women who were approximately 18 years old on the island. Were any such women potentially underage with you? I know you've stated that you were not there, but did you have any interaction with the said
Objection to the foundation of the question. He's already stated he was not on the island. You're now asking about a claim of the Fifth Amendment by Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay. Would the staff be able? Go ahead.
If the witness doesn't know, the witness is welcome to say he doesn't know.
No, but he actually answered the question.
Yeah, he answered
She
the
asked
question,
that
but
it wasn't on the island,
I'm
so
not
then she was
instructed
asked.
not
Okay. Do you know an individual by the name of Sarah Ransom?
I don't believe so.
Okay. There have obviously been claims made about you, and I do not believe that these claims are credible. The reason I am asking you specifically about that name is because that individual stated that you were in sex tapes, okay? It was unfounded and it was discredited. But given the politicization of this entire investigation, do you believe that it would be appropriate of members of this committee to bring in witnesses, whether it is about you or another president, that have unfounded allegations regarding sexual claims of misconduct?
That's not a decision for me to make.
As a recommendation in regards to avoiding trafficking, etc., and bringing justice for the victims, would you make that recommendation to this committee?
Congressman, just so I understand the question, you're saying if the witness has unfounded claims?
Well, I don't believe that Sarah Ransom's claims about the president are founded. I don't believe that there's sex tapes with you, President Clinton.
No, I'm just asking about your question. Is it, you're not asking if somebody with plausible claims should be brought in. You're asking if somebody with implausible, unfounded claims.
Correct, because these claims were found to be unfounded by investigators.
So are you asking his opinion?
Yes, because we are trying to figure out in regards to being able to further this investigation and whether or not we are going to be interviewing other individuals regarding sex trafficking, avoiding in the future. I know that you and your wife have both been big on this issue. So I'm asking you, would you think that it would be appropriate that this committee bring in someone like Sarah Ransom, who has unfounded claims that have been debunked in this investigation? It's
He
a
answered
simple
the question he answered this question when you first asked it then, when he said that it wasn't for him to make those decisions.
Well, I'm asking for his recommendation to the committee and follow-up.
Oh, stop.
It's not a gotcha question. This is obviously a very
Well,
serious
why would you want
investigation.
his
Well, first of all, I recommend that you have on your staff a
Follow the
prosecutor
law.
that's had a lot of experience in this, dealing with these
we
cases.
recommend that you follow the
Normally,
law.
it's not a good idea to bring in a witness that you know is lying.
Okay, thank you for that. My last questions for you are you familiar with anyone by the name of Adriana Ross?
I don't think so.
How about Sarah Kellen?
I don't think so.
Okay. Would you recommend that this committee bring in
Oh, my
individuals that were listed as trafficking minors? They were listed as co-conspirators and then given plea deals.
It's exactly quick. If you wanted his opinion, you didn't have to pull him in before the whole world to ask him his opinion, did you?
The ability of the United States.
Follow the law.
Okay. Is it possible, and in your opinion, that you and or your wife were targeted as a means of an intelligence gathering operation?
Object to the
by
form of the
Jeffrey
question.
Epstein and Maxwell?
Object to the form of the question. No objection to if he knows that they were targeted.
I believe that's what she asked.
No, she said, is it possible? So she's asking him to speculate instead of asking him to.
Do you know if you were targeted at any point?
I don't, but I don't. I'd sort of be surprised, but I'm not. I don't know.
Okay. All right, Chairman Comer, I think that's my time. I just want to say thank you very much, President Clinton, for coming in. And I do understand that this has been politicized, but again, I will state on record and I will state this to the press that I don't believe that Sarah Kellen's claims against you were valid. Thank you.
Taco, we grown over here. We only talking about the Epstein files. Respectfully. And if you can't stay on that, we're going to ask that you go ahead and remove yourself,
I asked you to
okay?
characterize your relationship with Mr. Epstein. I asked you if you considered him
We're only
to
talking about
be a
Epstein.
friend. You said you did not. Is that right?
I said we were friendly and we had a cordial relations, but I didn't know him well enough. Because we had
And let's be
no
clear,
contact.
no minor has said that Clinton
At this
has
time, I'd
done
like to introduce
anything
what we marked as Majority Exhibit 13.
to them. No minor.
Mrs. Bates
But
marked
several
House
have with
Oversight
Trump.
000126.
Okay,
And while
adios.
it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
Yeah,
is
it's his 50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
Questions?
Yeah,
Mr. President, do you recognize this
I
letter?
do.
And for the record, does this appear to be your handwriting and
It
signature?
is.
And why did you write this letter?
Why did I? Because I was requested to contribute a nice letter for his birthday book.
And who asked you to write the letter?
I don't remember.
Would Miss Maxwell have
I
asked
don't
you?
know. I think someone on my staff asked me.
Now, there's a word that our committee has not been able to identify, and in our defense, the Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. Not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't,
No, errors.
errors. What did I mean? Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress. done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
Did you ever see the birthday book compiled together?
I don't think so.
And you mentioned previously you were friendly with Mr. Epstein. Did you typically send birthday wishes to individuals that you didn't consider to be friends though?
No, I send out literally hundreds and hundreds of birthday letters every year to people that have been my friends. But if somebody's doing a special, I've sent birthday letters of congratulations to people I've met 2 or 3 times for their 70th birthday, their 80th birthday, their, 50th wedding anniversary. I do it. And I told you, I thought Epstein was interesting and curious, so I wrote a letter that I thought reflected that.
Can you elaborate on what made him interesting and curious?
Now he looks like he
No more
has
than I've already
work.
said.
At this time, I'd like
look,
to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit
He still look
14.
better than Trump.
And while it's being handed out, this is an article published by the New York Times on August 5th, 2025, entitled "A Look Inside Epstein's Manhattan Lair." And once you receive the article, I will just direct your attention to page 10.
Y'all see that big old spot on the back of Trump neck?
They haven't brought it yet.
That nasty rash. He look like he got the heebie-jeebies. He just looked old. How old is Clinton? He still look good to me. Oh.
Thank you very much.
And we're specifically looking at a framed photo on a wooden table alongside multiple other framed photos. And we're focusing on the
Absolutely.
photo in the middle.
That's why
which
he.
appears
That's
to
why he
have
went
a golden frame.
to war, because there was nothing they could offer to pass the blame on them.
Right there.
Not the page with the Pope on.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
Page 10. Is that what we're on?
Page 10. Mr. President, do you recognize yourself in this photo?
I do.
And it appears that the man on the right of the photo is Jeffrey Epstein, is that correct?
I think so.
Have you seen this photograph before today?
Only in this picture.
Hi, Greg.
And for the record, what is happening in this photo?
He's smiling at me, looks like he's talking to me.
This is one of the friendly interactions that you're describing earlier.
Yes.
And can you describe the circumstances surrounding this photo?
Are you asking if he recalls?
I do not. I have no idea. I see Richard Branson in the back and other people. But I don't remember anything about it.
And you appear to be comfortable with Mr. Epstein in this photo. Would you disagree with that characterization?
You're creating a characterization. He's already responded to your question about the picture.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable here. I'm not happy, but I'm comfortable.
Don't create a narrative.
And my conscience is clear. That helps.
His sister girl turning the back, baby. She on it. She is on it. He done already asked that. Don't create no narrative for him. Let's go, sister. Hey, Louis. Excuse me.
Okay.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour, so I just want to ask you some questions related to the crimes committed by Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell. Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein sexually abuse or assault young women or girls?
No,
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein receive massages from young women or girls?
not that I recall.
Did Mr. Epstein ever discuss sexual acts of any kind with you?
No,
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
no,
Did you ever have sexual contact with any young woman or girl introduced to you by Epstein or Maxwell?
no,
Mr. President, with the benefit of hindsight, were there things you witnessed that could have suggested that Epstein was trafficking and sexually abusing young women and girls?
I do not believe so.
We will go off the record.
They went off the record, y'all. Please hit the like button. Double tap the face of your screen. Support the platform, please. Help me reach my
We can
goal.
go back on the record. Mr. President, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is, and I'll be doing most of the questioning for the minority today. First, thank you for your long and distinguished service to this country. I also want to thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. Before we get to questions, I'd like to take a few minutes and highlight some context that we think is relevant for today's conversation. President Trump had a long-standing personal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. That is not a secret, it is well documented, and I think the public and everyone in Congress understands that at this point. President Trump does not like talking about his long-standing personal relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I think we've all seen that as well. On November 12th of last year, Oversight Committee Democrats released emails that were obtained from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. In one email from 2011, Epstein said to Ghislaine Maxwell that President Trump was, quote, that dog that hasn't barked, and that an unnamed victim, quote, spent hours at my house with him. In another email from 2019, Epstein wrote that, quote, of course he, referring to President Trump, knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. I'd like to enter as Minority Exhibit A, Oversight Democrats press release from November 12th, 2025, titled House Oversight Committee Releases Jeffrey Epstein Email Correspondence Raising Questions About White House Cover-Up of Epstein Files. And that includes both the emails that I just mentioned. There was a fair amount of public attention on those emails, and 2 days later, President Trump asked the Department of Justice to investigate Epstein's relationships with yourself, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, and JP Morgan Chase. You are, of course, a former Democratic president of the United States. Notably, President Trump did not include any Republicans in his demands. Later that day, Attorney General Pam Bondi posted on social media that the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York would comply with President Trump's directive and take the lead on the investigation. I would like to enter as Minority Exhibit B, Attorney General Bondi's post on X, which also includes President Trump's post on Truth Social. It is well understood that you had a personal relationship with Mr. Epstein, and we will talk about that today, but the events I just described color our perspective on the conversation. It appears as if you and other Democratic figures have been targeted by President Donald Trump in an attempt to distract the American people from his own long-standing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And if that were true, it would not be the first time that President Trump has targeted his political enemies under the guise of law enforcement. This deposition is occurring in the context of unprecedented weaponization of the Department of Justice by Donald Trump. You may have a perspective on this of your own, so before we get started, I just want to give you the opportunity to share any thoughts you might have on that subject.
I think I'll let you ask me some questions and then maybe at the end I'll say something.
That sounds fine. Thank you. I'd like to start our conversation with a few foundational questions so we can just set the record straight from the very beginning. With respect to your relationship with Mr. Epstein, did you ever, at any point during your interactions with Jeffrey Epstein, know about the sexual abuse that he was committing against minors and young women?
No,
Have you ever engaged in sexual activity with a person introduced to you by Jeffrey Epstein?
no,
With respect to your relationship with Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, did you ever, at any point during your interactions with Ghislaine Maxwell, know about the sexual abuse that she committed and facilitated against minors and young women?
no,
Have you ever engaged in sexual activity with a person introduced to you by Ghislaine Maxwell?
no,
Have you ever, at any point, visited Jeffrey Epstein's former estate on Little St. James Island in the U.S. Virgin Islands?
no,
In February of last year, Attorney General Pam Bondi said on Fox News that you traveled on Mr. Epstein's plane, quote, because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey
Ooh,
Epstein
close your
had young
mouth.
girls. I will ask you, did you fly on Mr. Epstein's
Yeah.
plane because it had a
woman.
bed where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls?
no,
Are there any other accusations that have been made against you with respect to Mr.
Absolutely.
Epstein that you'd like to address before we get started with some chronological questions?
Who make you sick?
I think you pretty well covered it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will ask a series of chronological questions. I'd like to try to create one clear chronological record. Some of that might be repetitive from what you've already talked about. I will try to keep that to a minimum. All of these questions are from a long time ago. If you don't recall anything about what I'm asking, just let me know. Starting with events before and during your presidency, the earliest known link that we're aware of between yourself and Mr. Epstein is that he made a pair of campaign contributions to you in 1992. There was a $1,000 contribution to your presidential election committee in January 1992, and another $1,000 in June to the Clinton-Gore General Election Compliance Fund. I imagine a lot of folks donated $1,000 to your campaign. Do you have any specific recollection or knowledge of those particular contributions?
No, I think this is the first time I've ever known that.
Thank you. That takes us into your time as president. You were elected in November of 1992 and inaugurated in January of 1993. Mr. Epstein visited the White
Y'all
House a
finna
number
step
of
away.
times while you were in office. Our understanding is that Mr. Epstein visited the White House 17 times between 1993 and 1995. I am not going to walk you through each of those visits. I'm just going to break them into categories. I think first, with respect to the only Epstein visit where it is publicly known that you either met Mr. Epstein or had some interaction, was the White House Historical Association reception that you mentioned earlier. I know there's a photograph that you mentioned of yourself and Mr. Epstein meeting. Am I right that you have no specific recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein or Ms. Maxwell at that event?
I don't.
With respect to the other 16 times that Mr. Epstein came and went, and that spanned 1993 to 1995, am I right that you have no specific recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein any of those times?
No, I don't think I did, and I don't know who he saw.
It's been publicly reported that in March of 1995, there was a fundraiser in Palm Beach that you attended and that Mr. Epstein also attended. Other guests reportedly included Jimmy Buffett and investor Ron Perlman, who may have hosted the event at his home. Do you have any specific recollection of that event?
I remember going there in 1995. I have now seen the picture with Jeffrey Epstein and Jimmy Buffett. I recognize Jimmy Buffett. He was a longtime friend of mine. He performed for me twice in my second term as president. And we were friends for the rest of his life. But that's it. I don't know if he knew Mr. Epstein. I had no idea what that picture was. I didn't remember it.
And so is it right that you have no specific recollection of meeting Mr. Epstein
No, I don't.
at that fundraiser, just for the transfer?
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce as Minority Exhibit C, an article from the Daily Beast titled, "Jeffrey Epstein Visited Clinton White House Multiple Times in Early 90s. That article is dated July 24th, 2019. Once you receive it, I'll just direct you to page 8 of the article that you're about to review.
Okay.
I'll give you a moment to look that note over, and then I'll read the relevant portion into the record. Page 8.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So you can see here that on April 27th, 1995, Lynn Forrester, now Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, sounds like served on a few committees or boards under your administration, wrote you a note. I'll just read part of that note out loud. "Dear Mr. President, it was a pleasure to see you recently at Senator Kennedy's house. There was too much to discuss and too little time. Using my 15 seconds of access to discuss Jeffrey Epstein and currency stabilization, I neglected to talk to you about a topic near and dear to my heart, namely affirmative action and the future." And that's the end of the relevant portion. I just wanted to ask whether you have any specific recollection of this note or of your conversation with Ms. Forrester.
I don't.
As far as you can remember, at this point in the middle of 1995, how would you have characterized your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
It would be virtually non-existent.
Do you recall any other interactions that occurred between yourself and Mr. Epstein during your time in office that have not already been mentioned today?
No. I think I told you everything I know.
In October of 1999, toward the end of your time in office, we know that Epstein contributed $20,000 to the First Lady's joint fundraising account. Would you have any memory or knowledge of that particular contribution?
No, was that for a White House related thing?
No, joint fundraising, he means the Senate.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Okay, I am going to move to the years after your presidency. We'll do this in chronological order as well. Your second term ended in January of 2001. In December of 2001, the New York Post reported that you and Miss Maxwell had dinner at a New York City restaurant called Nello's. Do you have any specific recollection of that dinner?
No. How do I know? I didn't. Nor do I remember the article.
So, moving into 2002, you touched on this in the previous round. It sounds like there were two meetings. We don't have exact dates for them, but one of them was at your office in Harlem with Mr. Epstein. The other was at Mr. Epstein's home in New York City. Could you just repeat for us, what do you recall about each meeting, maybe starting with your office in Harlem?
I just remember that sometime in 2002, I think, he paid a visit, and he had become, I think it was either after or just before we started the flights. But he obviously was going to be a serious supporter of the foundation, and I think he played a visit. I was flattered he wanted to see my office. I liked it.
And then the meeting at his home in New York City, did I hear you say in the previous hour that Mr. Epstein was not actually there?
I said that when I wrote my book and talked about it, and when I've talked about it in the past, I realized I talked as if he were there, and of course he was there.
Hey, thank you,
And I started trying to
Marshmallow.
Got a nice man on the staff that showed me around, and now I'm just being honest, I don't remember whether he was there or not. He could have been there, but I don't remember.
As far as you can recall, would the purpose of that meeting also have been related to Mr. Epstein's support of your work through his plane, for example?
Yeah, the reason we went by, regardless of who was there, was that my staff we finished an event in New York City. And Lord knows how many I've done since then. I don't remember what it was for, but it was in New York City. And my staff aide said, we're only a couple blocks from Epstein's house. It's a converted elementary school. He's very proud of it. And I think, it'd be a nice thing to do. Since it's early, you could just go by and take a look at it. So that's what we did.
Do you recall seeing anything or anyone in his home that was suspicious or reflected abnormally young women or girls?
No, the only people I saw there that night were staff. And him if he was there, I just don't remember.
Do you recall seeing any images of young girls or women at Epstein's home?
No.
So, moving to some of the travel on Mr. Epstein's plane, and we have specific dates for a lot of that. I'd like to move through that chronology of known trips, just one at a time, in order. To begin, flight logs indicate that on February 9th of 2002, and we'll give you the logs, you flew on Mr. Epstein's plane from Miami to Westchester County, New York, with Epstein, Maxwell, and some others. And you mentioned this flight in the previous round as well. I will introduce that flight log as Minority Exhibit D. And we'll give you a moment to receive that and take a look at it.
Is this one page?
It is one page, exactly. And the flight in question, the leftmost column has a number 9 on it, and you can see your name at the beginning in one of the middle columns.
Excuse me, at the top, it says 15. Are you talking about a date? Could you just...
Yeah, the one on February 9th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I do see it.
Great. I'll just ask some specific questions. As an initial question, and we can see it here, you had a Secret Service detail that traveled with you after you left office, presumably still does. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And did that detail accompany you on all trips that you took with Mr. Epstein?
Yes.
For this trip from Miami to Westchester, first, just do you recall the circumstances of the trip?
No, I was down there and I was coming home. I don't remember why I was down there.
In terms of who was present on the flight, and we'll do this exercise with the other trips as well, are you able to make out from the initials here maybe who is who? In other words, I can see your name and I can see 4 Secret Service. And then from there we have 2 males, 1 female, I think Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and then SK and AP. Do you have any recollection of who any of those folks may have been?
No. I just don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't. And initials, they don't mean anything to me.
This isn't a record from yours, this is their record.
Yeah.
In February in 2002, so the same month as this flight, it was reported that you and Miss Maxwell were seated together at some type of charity gala in New York. I don't know what the charity was or where exactly the event occurred. Do you have any recollection of what I'm referring to?
Could you state the date again, sir?
In the same month, February 2002, and I don't have an exact date.
What was it reported?
Simply that you and Ms. Maxwell were seated together at a charity gala in New York.
Wow. I have no recollection of it, but it could have happened.
Heading into March of 2002, so the following month, we have a series of international travel, and the first of those trips indicates that on March 19th and 21st of 2002, you flew on Mr. Epstein's plane from JFK to London and back with Mr. Epstein, Ms. Maxwell, and some others. We will introduce those flight logs as Minority Exhibit E and go through the same exercise. And that's the 19th and the 21st.
The 19th and the 21st?
Yes. Down toward the bottom of the page.
Oh, that's great.
Is this a flight to London?
Yes.
No, this says we had 10 Secret Service agents.
So I guess just to start with, do you recall the circumstances or the reason for this trip?
And this was when?
This was March of 2002.
I don't, but never mind. There was a lot of stuff going on. India, in the late January, 4 days after I left office, had a horrible earthquake. And lots of people died. And I called the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Vajpayee, who belongs to the current leader's party, but was much less uber nationalist. And I asked him if I could help. And he said yes. He said, I have the money and organization to fix the big cities, but not the smaller towns. And we need schools, we need hospitals, we need all the stuff rebuilt. Will you help? So that's the first thing I undertook to do, even before the AIDS thing, after I left the White House. So I was there. So by March of 2002, the next year, we were still working on that, and then the South Asian tsunami hit in December. So I was doing all this stuff and also trying to get set up at home too. So that's why it sounds unusual for me to have 10 Secret Service agents, but I must have been going to several stops.
And is it the same for you when you look at some of these names? I can make out the name Naomi Campbell. Do you have any recollection of Naomi Campbell being on this flight?
Naomi, when we went to Europe once, I think she went on one. She was a friend of Doug's, and that's what I remember. Let me see. Yep. And Jeffrey Delane. I don't know who the other people are.
Looks like Doug Band is listed there, and that...
Yeah, he's there, but SK, I don't know who that is.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving to May of 2002, just 2 months after the one we just looked at, flight logs show a series of flights around Asia. Got 5 flights, including Hong Kong, China, Singapore, and Thailand. I'll introduce the flight logs for that trip. just take a look at it together as Minority Exhibit F. You still need it, right?
We do need it. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you very much. You said
So
what?
those are from the 22nd to the 25th.
Let me just highlight. 22nd. And you're saying each one till the 25th?
Yeah, so the first one lists the former president, and then 4 in a row after that lists same as above. So it's the same group of folks for about 5 flights.
Yep.
So, same question, this trip to Asia, do you have a recollection of the circumstances, how the trip came about?
Yeah, that was 2002, right?
Yes.
So we, and when was the tsunami? Was it at the end of 2002 or the end of 2001?
That I'm not sure of.
Just to the best of your memory, you have to share what you know.
Anyway, to the best of my memory, this was a trip to raise funds to organize our health network in Asia, which was basically designed to deal with AIDS, but also I was heavily involved in the reconstruction of India after the earthquake there. And was asked to do it by the Prime Minister and later by the UN, so I was involved with that.
And do you have any recollection of who these individuals on the flight were? For example, there are a few female names. I think one is Janice, one is Jessica. When you look at the log, do you have any recollection of who's who?
No. She may have been a flight attendant, I don't know.
Do you have any recollection of the flights themselves?
Of this
Not the
particular
flights
flight?
themselves.
This group of flights.
I remember we made several stops and you mentioned them. And we're going there, but that's all I remember.
To the best of your recollection, whether with respect to the flights or the trip itself, did you ever witness or become aware of sexual abuse of any kind?
No.
We then have logs showing 2 flights in July of 2002, and I will introduce those as Minority Exhibit G. Give you a moment to receive those.
What was the prior one?
Prior one would have been F.
And that was the May 2002 flight log.
Where's that?
No, I put F on that, but I thought that was, sorry, so you.
No, no problem. It should be May 2002. I have as F as in Frank.
Okay, I'm not sure what this one was. Okay, got it. I'm gonna get the labels later.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry about that.
No, not at all. So this one will be G, and it's July of 2002, specifically on July 13th.
Oh, sorry. Next one. I'll get that in the database.
I'll give you a moment.
Wait, does this say where we're going?
Yeah, it's on the 13th, and these flights are from Morocco to Portugal, and then Portugal to JFK. And our understanding, just from public reporting, is that this may have been part of a trip to Morocco to attend the King of Morocco's wedding.
And you're asking him about the legs that he's on?
This
Correct,
was-
exactly.
This was July of
Is that when his
2022.
wedding was?
Sorry?
Is that when he got married?
It may have been. I think that's my
July.
question for you, is whether you recall that this trip.
I recall going to his wedding.
Okay, do you recall approximately when that wedding would have been?
No, but it was a long time ago. I don't know if this was it. But I did go to Morocco
Hey.
more than once.
Do you recall attending the King of Morocco's wedding?
Absolutely, I did.
Do you recall whether Mr. Epstein and
Has he
Ms.
said
Maxwell
anything
also attended
that would help
wedding?
Trump?
I don't. I remember, I think Chelsea went with me. And
They haven't had to say that yet.
I remember because my late
To
mother-in-law loved
Wexner.
Morocco. Chelsea was there with her once and she wanted to go, so we went, and it was really nice. I was very close to the king's father, and I marched in his funeral
Thank you, Purple Flower.
when he died. And so they had this wedding and we were invited, and I very much wanted to go. Hillary was working and didn't go. Chelsea did, and I think Homer was with us too. I think,
There's been some reporting that you may have invited Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell to the King's wedding. It sounds like, but please you tell me, do you have any specific recollection of that?
I don't remember.
Do you have any specific recollection of these two flights, which may or may not have been part of the King's wedding? They're from Morocco to Portugal and Portugal to JFK. Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell were on the flights as well as yourself.
When I was coming home,
He's just asking you about these two legs, and he's asking you, do you have any recollection of these two legs of the flight?
no, I didn't. I remember the wedding very well, and all the stuff that happened, but that's all. I don't know the coming or the going.
Thank you. In September of that year, we have the trip that I think a lot of folks are aware of. This is a trip to Africa in September of 2002. The trip started at JFK, ended in London, stopped in Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Mozambique, and South Africa. Some high-profile figures were on board, including actor Kevin Spacey and comedian Chris Tucker, as well as Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell. I will introduce those flight logs as Minority Exhibit H. I'll look at the logs specifically. What is your recollection of how this trip to Africa came about?
Well, this is where most of my work was going to be done. And what month is this?
This is, I believe, September of 2002.
So, and the countries we were going to represented places where we had operations. Like Mozambique, for example, had a big AIDS problem, and we were trying to help. And there was, so that's what I know. Well, in South Africa, we spent quite a bit of time because I wanted to go see Mandela. He was still in good shape then. And we did things together. And then Charlene Hunter-Galt, who was one of the black women that integrated the University of Georgia and became then a very well-known international television commentator for PBS. And her husband Ron had moved down to South Africa, and they were longtime friends of mine. We had celebrated the 150th birthday of Arkansas together in Little Rock. We were longtime friends, and so we went to visit them, and she threw a big cookout for us, and it was a funny time. Chris Tucker and Kevin Spacey imitated me.
So a lot of these names on the logs are hard to make out. Do you have any specific recollection of who was on board those flights?
He's not asking you to review and try and see if you can read their names. He's asking you what your recollection is.
It says that Shante Davis was, and she worked for Jeffrey.
And I think it was discussed in the previous round, but that well-known photograph of yourself and Miss Davies, what is your recollection of the extent of your interactions with Miss Davies on that trip?
Where were we?
In Africa.
No, where was the
I
photograph?
think it was at the airport.
Oh,
Thank you,
On the way.
K-Life. I'm sorry I missed
That's
you.
it.
I stepped away.
I mean, we had a good relationship, but it was entirely proper. I never had any personal contact with her, if that's what you imply.
And am I right that while on that trip, whether the trip or the flights, did you ever witness or become aware of sexual abuse of any kind?
I did not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, thank you. We have a series of questions from some of the members in the minority, and so I'll be calling them up as we go through. Thank you, just want to again thank you for being here and answering all the questions. We appreciate that and for your service. Just two clarifying
Thank you,
questions. One that was
Christine,
asked during the Republican
for the
hour,
floating
I just wanna
heart.
just have you reiterate it for the record. Either during or after your presidency, were you ever made aware of Jeffrey Epstein having any kind of relationship, directly or indirectly, with a foreign intelligence agency or a service? And I ask because we've received a lot of interest and communication about that topic, and so I want to give you a chance to answer that again if there's any.
No, I wasn't, and I understood why now when you showed me the passport, but I wasn't. I didn't know anything about that.
Thank you. And then second, of course, this deposition also sets a pretty new precedent, I think, which is something that we've been discussing and folks in across the country are discussing as well. We're thankful that you're here. We believe in the minority that President Trump should also answer this committee's questions. He's someone that is mentioned almost more than any other person, besides Ghislaine Maxwell, in the Epstein documents. And so to get more information for this investigation, was wondering if you also agree that President Trump should answer questions of this committee.
That's for you to decide, but he did know him well, and I once had a brief discussion with him about it.
Thank you. Thanks for the answer. With that, I'm going to go to Mr. Walkinshaw, and we'll go down a series of questions.
Oh, I hate this, but because I don't believe I should inject anything. But I do not want to leave the impression, but since there was no follow-up question, the president never, this is 20-some years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. He just said we were friends, and then we had a falling out over a land deal, property deal. That's all.
Thank you.
Could I ask very briefly, Mr. President,
Sure.
if you recall, what were the circumstances of that conversation, or at least let's start with when did the conversation occur?
It was on its golf course, and there was a couple of years there when Joe Torre, who had been the manager of the Yankees and was a friend, and had a tournament, a charity golf tournament, called appropriately for this investigation, the Safe at Home Foundation. And it was designed to combat domestic violence, of which Joe Torre had been a victim as a child. And so I wanted to support it. And so Donald Trump gave him the golf course in New York to have a tournament on, and I played in it a couple of times, and the day I was there, he would typically, Donald Trump would come out and play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of our real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
Do you
He was
recall
sorry
whether
it
President
happened.
Trump was the first one to affirmatively bring up the subject of Jeffrey Epstein?
He was sorry it happened.
There was a couple of years there when Joe Torre, who had been the manager of the Yankees and was a friend, and had a tournament, a charity golf tournament, called appropriately for this investigation, the Safe at Home Foundation. And it was designed to combat domestic violence, of which Joe Torre had been a victim as a child. And so I wanted to support it. And so Donald Trump gave him the golf course in New York to have a tournament on, and I played in it a couple of times. And the day I was there, he would typically, Donald Trump would come out and play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, you know, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
Do you recall whether President Trump was the first one to affirmatively bring up the subject of Jeffrey Epstein?
No, but I'd be shocked if I did. I just don't do that.
Do you recall whether President Trump elaborated at all on the great times that he had with Jeffrey Epstein?
No, and at the time, I didn't put any, sexual spin on it.
And as far as you recall, President Trump characterized the nature of the ending of their friendship as being solely due to the real estate
That's
bidding
what he
problem.
said.
Thank you.
But I didn't think much about it at the time. And, it was 2 minutes and then we were gone.
As far as you recall, have you had any other conversations with President Trump related to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
And your best recollection, if you have one, of the year that this conversation occurred?
Maybe 2002 or 2003.
Thank you.
But
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. I just want to focus again on Ghislaine Maxwell. First, I'll ask you just to reiterate, did you ever at any point during your interactions with Ms. Maxwell know about the sexual abuse she committed and facilitated against minors and women?
No.
When did you learn that she had engaged in crimes against girls and young women?
When the first evidence came out, when was it in 2019?
Okay. And have you ever engaged in sexual activity with a person introduced to you by Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
You're aware that she was convicted of crimes, as we discussed, and you're aware that she's currently incarcerated as a result of her federal conviction.
Yes.
Maxwell received a 20-year sentence for her crimes. Are you aware that she has repeatedly called on President Trump to grant her clemency, and that she has said that you and President Trump are not guilty of any wrongdoing with respect to Epstein?
I know that now, yes.
In your opinion, does she deserve or should she be granted clemency by President Trump?
I don't think I should comment on that. I
No.
don't know anything about
With their hands shaking.
what I've already told. And I thought that was a mistake to pardon everybody in the January 6th case. And I think that this thing was really hard for me when it came out because we had been friendly with Ghislaine. I was sad, but it was terrible what she did, and she has to be punished. Somebody besides me should make a decision on what it is. So she got 20 years, and there it is.
Okay. Mr. President, on July 24th, 2025, the Deputy Attorney General and President Trump's former personal attorney, Todd Blanche, conducted a closed-door interview of Ms. Maxwell at her then low-security prison.
I don't know
On
why they
August
asking
1st,
him stuff
2025, just
about
a few days after
that.
that interview,
That-
she was transferred to a
Why they want
lower-security
opinion? Why they
prison
need
where
a
she's
directive?
afforded a list of amenities, personalized meals, playtime with puppies, a transfer that I think most Americans agree is inconsistent with a very serious crime she was convicted of. Do you have any
Absolutely.
opinion on her transfer to that lower security prison and the amenities she's been granted? Did it seem strange to you when you learned of that?
I think you're in a better position to find out what happened than I am.
Okay. When you were President of the United States, was it common for your Deputy Attorney General to directly conduct interviews of witnesses and/or federal inmates?
Was it really better?
You have to testify what you know,
He's
what you
asking-
recall.
Yes, he's
You
asking,
recall
did
the
you
list.
ever send a deputy attorney general to?
To the best of my knowledge, I did not do that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh yeah, he done got old, y'all.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Representative Foster, you still the youngest person in Congress?
Yes, I am, Mr. President.
Lucky you.
Hopefully that changes. If you're the youngest for too long, it's not good.
There'll come a time, believe me. I was for most of my life the youngest person doing whatever I was doing. And one day I woke up, I was the oldest man in every room, and I couldn't tell you for the life of me how I got from one place to the other. Time will take care of it. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Thank you, thank you. It's a blessing to be the oldest person in the room as well. Mr. President, I just wanted to circle back to the conversation around the conversation you had with Jeffrey Epstein on the golf, or with Donald Trump on the golf course in New York. You know, President Trump has said publicly multiple times that his falling out with Jeffrey Epstein was the result of him hiring away workers from Mar-a-Lago and his crimes. He said that's why he kicked them out of Mar-a-Lago. You brought up two questions about this. Did President Trump specifically characterize the result of this land dispute they had as a falling out specifically, to the best?
Yeah, he said they both wanted the same piece of land. He didn't say what it was, and that's all I remember.
And he said it was a falling out as a result of that?
Yeah, said it strained their relationship.
Do you know when this conversation happened?
When the conversation I had with him happened, well, it had to be in 2002 or 2003, I think.
2002, 2003. All right, thank you. During any of your interactions with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, did either of them ever mention or discuss their relationships or connections with Howard Lutnick?
No.
What about their relationship or connection with Alex Acosta?
No.
Prior to Jeffrey Epstein's arrest in 2019, did anyone ever speak with you about Epstein's relationship with Howard Lutnick?
No.
And what about Alex Acosta?
No.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
I'm Melanie Stansbury. I represent New Mexico's 1st Congressional District, and it's an honor to have you and your council here. And this is a very important investigation, and we obviously have a lot of questions. And for me personally, this case is all about justice for the victims. And I really appreciated in your opening statements, your statement about nobody being above the law, including a president. And I think it's important that we are setting the precedent for Congress establishing oversight and subpoena power over a president. And I believe Donald Trump should and will ultimately be in front of this body. And I also appreciate what you said about women and girls who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein deserving justice and healing. And that's where I'd like to focus my questions. And in particular, I want to focus on 3 survivors who have shared stories that involve you. So I want to begin with Maria Farmer. Do you know who Maria Farmer is? Maria Farmer was employed by Jeffrey Epstein and abused by him for a number of years. And she first reported her abuse to the New York PD and FBI in 1996. And she states that she has personal knowledge that you visited Jeffrey Epstein's house 3 to 4 times while you were the sitting president between 1995 and 1996. And she says she knows this based on photographs that Ghislaine Maxwell showed to her, as well as discussions with the staff. So let me ask you, Mr. President, did you visit Jeffrey Epstein's house while you were president?
I do not remember doing that. I do not believe I did.
How do you explain this discrepancy?
Objection calls for him to speculate.
I can't speculate. But all I can tell you is I don't remember being there.
Okay. Moving on to Virginia Roberts Giuffre, are you familiar with her? As has already been established, she has stated in numerous sworn statements, including a sworn deposition in the Maxwell trial, that she saw you on the island with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, this morning, her family shared her diary with me. And in it is a quote wherein she writes, quote, Bill Clinton met 2 times island with 2 girls, CT, GM, and JE. What is your reaction to that?
It's not true.
Thank you. Hey, Reflections with
Are there
Kimberly.
dates associated with that? Were there dates on the diary? with
I
respect
don't
to-
have that information, but we'll be happy to share it with you.
Well, terrific, because I think there are also records that would reflect where else he would have been. So thanks.
Thank you for the makeup
say that
brush
in
the
the book?
party had in the happy
This
poop.
is from her personal diary that her family shared with us.
It's, but the book came out more recently. Did she say that in the book?
I'm just reading you the entry from
Oh,
her
then, yeah,
diary that
then,
her family
yeah.
shared with me.
I think she ultimately reached a different conclusion, although I have no contact with her.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that it's on the record that that is Virginia Giuffre's statement. Did you ever fly in a helicopter with Maxine?
Thank you for helping me reach my goal.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ever, anywhere? I have no idea.
Okay, well, at least one of the survivors claims that you flew in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell to the island.
Did you ever?
Then I did not do that. I've never been to that island.
Okay. The third person I want to talk about briefly is Shantae Davies. I know we've already mentioned her here today. I know you've already mentioned that she was listed as a flight attendant on the trip to South Africa in 2002 that you took with Jeffrey Epstein. Are you aware that Shantae Davies is a survivor who claims she was abused for 3 years, including during that time period?
I am now.
And are you aware that Jeffrey Epstein recruited his victims through calling them masseuses?
No.
You're not aware that
But
Jeffrey...
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I didn't know that, no.
Knowing that Jeffrey Epstein recruited hundreds of minors as masseuses to massage him, and knowing that this victim, who was a survivor of 3 years of his sexual abuse as a masseuse, was on the plane, does that make you think about the massage you received from her differently?
Can I just interrupt? You're saying knowing, you know that. He was saying that he was unaware that that's how Mr. Epstein was recruiting his individuals.
I'm asking if today, hearing
Have you
this,
seen the picture?
I have a copy of it right here. Yes.
Yeah, it don't.
Sitting up and
I'm just asking if now that you know that Jeffrey Epstein recruited girls as masseuses, does that reframe that photograph, and knowing that there were girls on the plane that were being abused?
He don't know that.
Objection. It states facts not in the record. You can ask this witness what he thinks or remembers about anything that happened, but I don't think it's right to ask him to speculate.
Right.
she wants to know if I feel bad about it, yes.
I'm not, I think
Don't
what...
you?
Yeah,
what
because
I'm
you
trying
can't
to
ask
get
him
at
about
is that
something
there is
else.
a culture that surrounded Jeffrey Epstein in which rich and powerful people saw young women that were survivors who were being abused and didn't say anything.
He
and
didn't
do
contribute
anything.
to
And so
that.
Part of what I'm trying to do is to ask you, we know there was a survivor that was on the plane. You've stated that you didn't know she was a survivor. I understand that, but I'm asking now that you are aware that Epstein was recruiting survivors as masseuses, does this make you rethink what you saw as you were traveling and interacting with him?
So he has already spoken to... Wait a minute. I want to make sure that you are clearly answering her question. He's already stated what he saw and what he knew. And so what you're now asking him is, given what you've now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he saw and what he did? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shante had told me. I liked her. But I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering massage.
I see why he started the war. He not giving him nothing.
And usually I don't do that. I'm
Did he
not
give
into
Donald Trump nothing?
Well, that certainly raises some other questions about people offering free massages on boats, etc. But I do want to enter a couple of exhibits into the record, and I know council is prepared to pass them out. And while that is occurring, we're going to introduce this exhibit. What is it? Exhibit I, it'll be Minority Exhibit I, which is a FBI PowerPoint that was included in the files that were released as part of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And then I would like to introduce this exhibit, which is Exhibit J, which is a internal correspondence emails between the FBI. And though I'm short on time, what I'll describe in both these exhibits is that your name appears in FBI tip sheets as having attended parties in Jeffrey Epstein's presence in which sexual activities were occurring. Did you ever attend a party of any kind or an event with Jeffrey Epstein in which sexual activities were occurring? Okay. And then finally, there will be many millions of people that watch this deposition. What would you like to say to the survivors directly?
that I hope this will produce a sense of finality. And I don't think that'll happen until the government starts holding on to all the records. I think that, the records should be released. And then I think that we need to come up with strategies to help people who can't get over this get better. And the most important thing we do, I think, besides treat the victims, is increase the guardrails that will set off alarm systems and stop other people from doing the same thing that Epstein did.
Thank you
At least
very
he
much,
have
Mr.
empathy.
President. Thank you.
He has empathy.
We had an
You
additional
can't get that from
member
Trump.
join us in the interim. Could that member just identify themselves?
Absolutely. Hello, Mr. President. My name is Nick Langford. I represent New York's 23rd Congressional District, Buffalo suburbs, rural southern tier. Thank you for being here today.
Just for the record, the time check.
We've got about 5 minutes left in this round.
Thank you so much.
I think it's fine. Congressman, how are you?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here and for your time today. And thank you for your service. We have, as you know, in the files that were released, there were several photos, included you. And we have an exhibit here. That's just one of the photos. And Exhibit K, Minority Exhibit K.
Yep.
And we'll have that passed around. And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo.
I don't need to see no more.
And any details you may be able to provide us
He ain't
about
gave
it.
up nothing that's gonna be able to help Trump.
So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this taken, I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture.
Hi,
But anyway,
Richard.
this
Like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, thank you.
in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters is basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And so, and then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in rotation. And it came at either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, and he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did. And I got out and went to bed, exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's
When
it's
are you
quite
going to?
enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted,
it'll
yes.
give you a different
Exactly.
feel.
Thank you. We don't have it with us
That's
right
why he started this
Thanks, I
war.
just wanted to make sure he knew the
now. And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about,
Well,
He's asking in the pool
it appears
area,
this photo, there's a girl over here, there's someone.
yeah, I don't know who that is.
but he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know,
No, and then.
He be
there were other
desperately
people
trying
in
to
the pool.
answer.
okay, so do you remember, were they under 18? Would you
No.
know?
He don't
For the
remember.
traveling party, he's asking you.
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night, and our ladies, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
And was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, and so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that ends this round, and we can go off the record.
Yeah, they
All
out
right,
there.
we'll go back on the record.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Ready to go?
Yep, we'll start with Ruby.
Wonderful. Hello, Mr. President. How are you?
Fine,
Good. Thank you so much for being here with us.
being horse.
Oh, you're fine, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to make my questions as quick and as painless as possible so we can move on with the day and hopefully not keep you here for too long. First question I have for you, Mr. President. Have you ever lied in a deposition?
No,
Have you ever lied while under oath?
no,
Thank you. Were you personally aware that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times during your presidency?
at the time it happened,
Yes.
no, at the time it happened, I was not.
Do you know, so Jeffrey Epstein never asked to meet with you personally in the White House while you were president during those 17 visits?
Not to my knowledge,
Would you know who he was meeting with?
no.
Okay,
I
well,
didn't know he was coming.
I don't know.
is that standard protocol for the president to not know of someone who is attending, visiting the White House 17 times
So wait, excuse me, just to be clear,
while you were
the
president?
White House office, which has 1,600 employees, you're speaking of the White House office?
Yes.
No, I think that most presidents don't have a clue who's coming in every day unless it's somebody of personal interest to the president.
Yes, and you did have a familiar relationship with
Very
Jeffrey Epstein,
cooperative.
correct?
No, I didn't.
My answer would be yes and no.
I wasn't aware I ever met him when I was president.
While you were president. We are trying to establish if Jeffrey Epstein was a foreign or potentially even a domestic asset of some kind. Do you have any reason to believe that he was trying to seek access to classified materials,
Probably.
intelligence reports, or sensitive government information are aware of? are aware of.
They
that,
killed me. They killed me
Jeffrey
wanting
Epstein was
him to
seeking
give his
sensitive
opinion
government
about
information.
what
To
he
the best of your
thinks.
recollection.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And moving on, at any time while you were traveling on any aircraft owned, leased, or otherwise
Hello. He don't
affiliated with
remember
Jeffrey Epstein, did you engage
another of
in
things.
sexual relations
He should
or
remember
sexual
about.
activities?
Yeah, but we talking
with
about the
anyone
Epstein files.
other
We're
than
not
your
talking about
wife?
Monica Lewinsky.
No.
Yeah, we talking
During
about
any
the
such
Epstein
flight,
files.
did you witness or have knowledge of any other individual
He done
engaging
already
in sexual
did what.
activities
Yeah, we talking about
with
the
any
Epstein
female
files,
passengers?
Julie.
No.
So go on
In
with that,
2002, you
baby.
participated in a 10-day multi-country
Release
trip
all
to
the
Africa
Epstein
while traveling
files.
on a Boeing 727 owned by Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. This trip was organized by Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you recall this trip, Mr. President?
I recall the trip, but I don't know that it was organized by Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe we were going places that I needed to go for my work.
Nope, let's put Trump in front
Yes,
of
sir. Internal
the
FBI
committee.
records describe the aircraft as having a section with couches adjacent to which a sliding glass door leading to another compartment. There was a bed. Are you familiar with the layout of this aircraft that you
We
traveled
talking
on?
about you getting up out of here because you
Familiar
heard
with
what
the
I
fact that there
said.
was a bench that
I
turned
said
into a
stay on
bed
topic. We talking
at
about
the
the
end of the
Epstein
passenger
files.
seats.
Did you not hear me?
And
We talking
any
about
other
can
bed
you
you were
hear?
familiar with?
Yeah,
Did
get
you
on up out of
ever,
here.
Go into any part of the aircraft with a bed that you perhaps lied on or utilized?
Trump needs to be in front of the committee.
Bench.
Yes.
It turned into the bed.
Yes.
I do not believe I ever went
You
into the
deflecting
back
just
section.
like the diaper man.
And at any time while traveling on such aircraft, do you remember utilizing either the bench that laid? I'll keep it as one option for now. Do you remember utilizing the bench as a bed? Was it laid out as a bed?
I remember.
I don't remember, but that doesn't mean I didn't. I'm familiar with the note.
Yes, sir. FBI internal records relay testimony from Dr. Greg Bledsoe, who participated on the 2002 Africa trip. Did Dr. Bledsoe
You can't
describe
hear?
multiple millionaires? Dr.
Go out and
Bledsoe
come back
does
in.
describe multiple millionaires and billionaires on the plane. Bledsoe also described, he also
Can you hear
describes
now?
multiple young women were present on the flights, and that Maxwell appeared to be in a position over the girls on the plane and was directing the girls. Can you describe the purpose of these women participating in this multi-country
Objection, form of the
trip?
question. You have no objection to asking the president what he saw, observed, heard, but he can't possibly speak to what Maxwell was in her mind.
Did you witness, Mr. President, Ms. Maxwell appearing to be in the position over other girls on the plane and possibly directing the girls?
Well, I thought that she was Epstein's top aide and that she was basically in charge of what happened.
What did happen, Mr. President?
I don't know. I mean, I've already told you this. I'll tell again. I never saw anybody do anything wrong. I thought they were flight attendants.
Do flight attendants typically wear tank tops and jeans?
They don't all wear uniforms on private planes.
Yes, sir. Most are dressed probably pretty business class. But moving on.
His testimony was with respect to private aircraft.
Yeah, don't add nothing to it.
Uniforms.
Correct. Dr. Bledsoe described one of the girls serving as a masseuse. At any point, did you or other male passengers receive a massage from this young woman or any other young women who were described as a masseuse?
Well, I've seen one picture that shows that in a airport waiting area, one of the women was massaging my neck. That's all I've seen.
Have you received more than one massage from these trips with Mr. Epstein and the young girls that were present?
I don't recall them. But the problem I remember from that trip was that my neck had spasmed and I was in, and so they offered to help and I let them help. It wasn't worth it.
She asked whether or not you recalled any other massage.
No, I do not.
Thank you. Mr. President, moving on to my next question. Submitted to the record, we have a painting that seems to be of you, Mr. President, found in one of Jeffrey Epstein's residences, wearing a, I would categorize it as a famous blue dress worn by the White House intern Monica Lewinsky. And I have this image here. This image is being passed around. If we need to go off the record while we do that, we can.
I can take a picture.
So,
do you have a question?
It will be marked as Majority Exhibit 15. Proceed.
Thank you. So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that is looks to be you.
He may
Mr.
not
President,
ever known it was
in this
made.
blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
he doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
My question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
Do you know why someone would paint this?
Are you asking
Objection. That's calls for speculation. You can ask the artist.
And if I
Ask
had
the
known
artist.
Jeffrey Epstein had this painting, it would have saved me this whole day.
Did you ever introduce Epstein to Monica Lewinsky or any other young female White House staffers?
I did not.
Did Epstein ever request introductions to young female intern staffers of you? Did he request you to introduce them? And one regarding this exhibit 15, this portrait, to the right of this image, there appears to be a plain letterhead document that is framed in a gold frame.
He said he never seen it.
Are you familiar with?
That he's testified that he's not seen this picture?
The painting we asked, yes. And
He's
now I'm
never
asking
been to
about
his
the image
house.
next to it, so.
Are you asking whether or not he's familiar with what's in this small frame?
I'm the part that you have covered up.
This part?
I'm asking if he's familiar with this letterhead letter that was
Is this part of the painting?
No, sir. This is next to the painting, and it's framed on the wall in the home of Jeffrey Epstein.
He said he's never been there.
I guess a better way to ask, other than the birthday note that was passed around here today for JeffreyEpstein's 50th birthday, Mr. President, did you ever handwrite?
Why are
Jeffrey
they not
Epstein
doing this to
any other
Trump?
notes?
Well, I wouldn't remember except that I've seen a picture recently of another note where I thank him for getting me away from the crowd on the airplane for a while so I could take a nap.
Yes. Okay, Mr. President, I just have two more questions for you, and then I will let you go. And again, I'm so grateful for your time here today. We also have another exhibit from the committee, and it's page 49, I believe, and the, how do you want to classify this one?
Okay. It will be marked as Majority Exhibit 16.
In this is a portion of Virginia Giuffre and her testimony. And in it, she is referencing you, Mr. President, and says he, Mr. Clinton, told me long ago that everyone owes him favors. They are all in each other's pockets. She's asked, I'm sorry, maybe that wasn't you that was referencing Clinton. I'll start over. He told me long ago that everyone owes him favors. I believe that's referring to Mr. Epstein. They're all in each other's pockets.
Sorry, could you show, what line are you starting at?
Yes, ma'am. I'm starting at the first line, and I do believe I incorrectly said that she was referencing Mr. Clinton. So to correct that.
She's not referencing.
Correct.
She's not referencing President Clinton. She's referencing instead. Who?
I believe this is Jeffrey Epstein that she is referencing here.
Thank you, Ms. Bobo.
Thank you. And then she's asked, would you say you asked him why Bill Clinton was here? And Virginia responds, on the island, where he was here, on the island. And she goes on to say,
excuse me, can you clarify who JS is?
Can we look at see who JS is?
It says V and then it says JS. So
yes,
is this
I will get you that name.
But this is a
Here, I can
conversation
pull it up right
between
here.
two people, or is this a
Yes,
transcript of a
this
deposition?
is a transcript of a deposition, yes.
Thank you so much.
It says telecon at the top, doesn't appear to be a deposition.
It says,
What do we have this as?
She ain't playing no games.
I'm not objecting.
No, that's fine, and we could go off the record if you want, just to get this. So this is, go ahead.
We'll go off the record.
His counsel is not playing not one game.
So we can go back on the record.
Y'all still
Thank you
into
very
this?
much.
Cause I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. Y'all still into this? Cause I need to hurry up and finish this up. I got Candace tonight, and I wanted to touch bases on Bibi Netanyahu. They're talking about, oh boy, is gone. Hell, is Bibi Netanyahu gone? Is he gone? Did he get knocked out? Yeah, cause he ain't giving up nothing. And he is being overly helpful to me. I would think that they would be prepared. And they're too busy trying to trip somebody up. To me. Let me get to Bibi Netanyahu. Who on Fox right now? Fox is a Trump. Is a Trump. Is Bibi Netanyahu? Is Bibi Netanyahu on Fox right now? They're saying he may be out of here.
Watch this. So I'll explain this in a second, but first, it's Ridge's biggest sale of the year. So this is basically analog tech. It's like using a phone from...
While bases, naval assets, and strategic military infrastructure in several Iranian
Okay, let's see what he's saying.
According to reports, the strikes destroyed the key facilities and even damaged Iranian warships as part of an expanded military campaign. Well, those attacks came after the dramatic reports surrounding the death of Khamenei.
They're saying it's 500 of our military have lost their life.
And now, Iran appears to be responding with force. That's right, ballistic missiles flying towards Israeli cities, regional tensions rising by the hour, and military forces across the Middle East moving.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, the fear now is that the conflict is entering.
Yeah, but Fox 4 is Trump, so when I catch them doing all that lying,
Iran and Israel is quickly expanding into wider confrontation involving multiple countries.
or half-ass giving stuff just to cover. But I'm trying to find Bibi Netanyahu now.
Joining us now.
Well, that was 2 months ago. 10 hours ago, 5 months ago. You say it's Fox. I know Fox is wicked. Yeah, I'm trying to catch it. Let me go here. 3 weeks ago. Let me see this.
Iran continues to vow revenge and continues to fire missiles at Israel and several Arab states in a counter-offensive that has now killed three U.S. service members, the first known American deaths in this ongoing conflict.
That's a clip.
Back on
And we have breaking news, a source telling
On
Fox's Jennifer
Hannity.
Griffin that the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia was hit by 2 drones. A third is apparently en route and could strike at any moment. And the embassy is now...
The reason that we had to act now is because they were, after we hit their nuclear sites and their ballistic missiles program, you'd think they learned a lesson.
Yeah, when was this recorded, though? Yeah, so that was recorded 2 days ago. I'm looking for today. That red tie was Hannity. What is John?
Joining us now from the Senate Armed. Joining.
He live right now? I don't see him live. He live right now? I don't have no idea why it's not pulling up for me. Hannity visit the site of terror.
Interested?
Beirut, AP. Time world now, Iran. He not pulling up under my lives. Under Fox. Tel Aviv is in flames. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it under mine. I don't know why. I'm under live, and I got Netanyahu interview. Let me take this out. I don't know why they put up here.
Your job doesn't stop. Neither do we.
That's Mobile. I don't know what's going on, but I got some system issues going on. Maybe I need to reboot. Hold on. Cause what y'all talking about, I can't pull up. Let me restart. Okay, I saw that, but it's not showing me nothing live. I went to that, but it's not showing me nothing live. You seeing me live now? Yeah, I don't know. I'm refreshing and rebooting right now. I am having some system issues, but
So, embarrassing story, guys. I got hit with a
because even when I go to live, it still should pull up. I see Jerusalem skyline. Yeah, I don't know. I saw his name.
Retaliation and signaling a willingness to respond with overwhelming military action.
Iran just stated that they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they have ever hit before. They better not do that, however, because if they do, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before.
Yeah, I'm going to just come back because I don't see it, and I'll do some research.
Senior Iranian leader Ali Larijani has issued a defiant response, framing the strikes as an attack on the nation's core and vowing a powerful
I don't know if they,
counterstrike.
I don't know why I can't pull them up with
America and
something
the
live.
Zionists burned the heart of the Iranian nation. We
Let
will
me go
burn
on a
their
different
hearts
device.
because their military had told them that this action would not succeed, as this country has two pillars. One pillar is the vigilant and fearless nation present in this country, and the other pillar is the wise leadership that neutralizes these tactics.
The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has also issued its most chilling threat yet, warning of a severe and regret-inducing response. While viral claims speak of a most devastating offensive, verified statements still point to an imminent, large-scale retaliation doctrine now in motion.
The most devastating offensive operation in the history of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will begin in moments towards the occupied territories and the bases of American terrorists.
The Middle East has crossed a dangerous threshold. Ali Khamenei is now confirmed dead after a massive US-Israel assault, targeting Iran's military and nuclear backbone. Tehran has declared mourning, but
Okay,
also
so this right here.
the Middle East is on the brink. After the Israel-US strikes on Iran, the theater of conflict is widening, and American bases
And this.
Issuing statements, vowing to intensify strikes, and declaring operations would continue in the heart of Tehran. This dramatic claim comes just days after a massive escalation. Around February 28th, joint U.S.-Israeli strikes hit deep inside Iran. According to regional reports, those strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, along with
Fox
multiple
News
senior
Channel
IRGC commanders and
live.
defense officials, effectively decapitating much of Iran's military leadership. The U.S. Central Command, United States Central Command, even declared key IRGC headquarters destroyed. Iran responded with multiple waves of missiles and drones, claiming to have targeted U.S. bases across the region and key Israeli military infrastructure.
Missile threat warning. Target shelter.
Is it Iran update? Fox News Channel live. I see live Iran update and it got Trump on it, but I don't see Bibi Netanyahu.
Iran claims it has struck the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and says his whereabouts are now unknown. Here's what we know. Iran's
I see
powerful
live
military
now,
arm, the
but I don't
Islamic
see Bibi
Revolutionary Guard Corps,
Netanyahu.
or
You say it's an
IRGC,
interview with
announced
Bibi
that its latest
Netanyahu?
wave of ballistic missile strikes targeted Netanyahu's office, along with the location of the Israeli Air Force commander. The claim surfaced
I'm
with
looking for where it's
IRGC
saying Bibi
affiliated outlets,
Netanyahu.
including Tasnim news agency, and quickly spread across social media.
That's what I'm looking for. I see, but right now it says I'm on a commercial break. Live now. So here go Bibi Netanyahu live from Global Hook. I'll be back, y'all. I'm going on 3 hours. My lights ain't on Hannity. I can't find him. And when I go to, yeah, I don't know why I can't pull him up. And I've seen him before, but he's not pulling up on my live right now. Hold on. You aren't on YouTube live, are you? Yeah, I'm trying to, but I've been on here 3 hours. And I got something else scheduled. So let me put Fox News. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. What is the title? When I go here, and even when I put in Fox News live stream, Hannity, I still see. Oh, wow. Hold on. So here go one of his shows. I'm going to one of his
And welcome to
shows.
Hannity this Friday night tonight. In just moments, we'll bring you
And then
the
I'm
very
gonna
latest from
go
Chappaqua, New York.
to try to go to his hang out with Sean Hannity. Yeah, I'll be back later. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Yeah, it's taking too much. And I'm looking at hanging out with Sean Hannity. I went here, let me go out. Okay, so when I go there, that's the same one with the red ties. That was, I don't understand. So I went there, hold on. And it's like 20 something minutes. It's not live. But let me go to that link that you sent me.
New York, where former President Bill Clinton was deposed under oath over his connection.
Yeah, it's for some reason not letting me. Now, I was able to see it on the link. But when I try to bring that over here, it said like 20 something minutes ago. Hold on. Let me pull it up over here. Hold on. And when I went there, for some reason, it's not. Hold on. Okay. So it was a premiere. It's not a live. It's a premiere. This is not live. Yeah, this was a premiere. That's why when I kept looking under live, it wasn't pulling up. It's a premiere. Hold on. And he had on there saying, y'all didn't hear me say something about a red tie? Yeah, this is a premiere. No. No. Premieres typically mean live, pre-recorded. But I saw this with the red tie with that same background. You could do a premiere.
Thank you for being here. I know you probably have gotten very little sleep in the last number of days.
Yeah, I saw this already because I said he had on a red tie.
This moment at this time, I know you have talked about it. We've known each other.
Yeah, it may have been live when they did it, but yeah, Netanyahu breaks silence for the first time since strike against Iran. And I can show you, go up under Netanyahu, and this conversation right here was already played 2 days ago. This right here.
Death to America. They've murdered and maimed thousands of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan.
This right here.
IEDs, these are roadside bombs. They bombed your embassies. They tried to assassinate Donald Trump, the President of the United States, twice. They've murdered their own people. They massacred so many. and they spread a worldwide web of terror. So this
Yeah,
is a
now they're trying to
regime
make this be
created
about
to destroy
him
the
trying to
United States
assassinate
of
Trump.
America.
But
It's
then
the
why
only
was
country
Trump
on the
talking to
planet
him,
that
trying to
says so
make
openly
deals?
and works tirelessly to achieve that goal.
Uh,
The reason that we had to act now is because they were, after we hit their nuclear sites and their ballistic missile program, you'd think they learned a lesson. But they didn't, because they're unreformable. They're totally fanatic
hold on.
about this. About
You
the
see
goal
this
of
one right
destroying
here?
America. So they
Same one, recorded 2 days ago.
new places, underground bunkers. That would
Same
protect
one.
their
That's what I was
ballistic missile
saying.
program and their atomic
Same
bomb
one.
program
Red tie.
within months. If no action was taken now, no action could be taken in the future. And then they could target America, they could blackmail America, they could threaten us and threaten everyone in between. So action had to be taken. And
Same one.
a resolute president like Donald J. Trump to take that
2 days
action.
ago.
And we are his very strong and able partners, and our alliance today is so strong. We had to take the action now, and we did. Otherwise, the Iranian mass murder.
See, when they do stuff like this, it makes it hard for me to believe them.
Steve Witkoff made this statement, the Middle Eastern envoy. He made
Yeah.
it last week that they absolutely are clinging.
Yeah. I'll be back later, y'all. Yeah, this is not proving it to me.
Program. And the president, as he said, he wanted a peace deal, gave them every opportunity for peace, like they did before Operation Midnight Hammer. And they steadfastly refused. In the first 30
Oh, he had on a blue shirt this time.
in my life,
He had on a white one this time. Let me find that other one I
Ali
saw.
Khamenei and his top 40 leaders were wiped out, Ahmadinejad among them. That is incredible intelligence, and wow, I'm sure this will be studied for centuries to come, not decades.
Well, you know, when America, the indispensable ally for Israel and the greatest power in the world, and Israel, America's model ally, as the National Security Council just called it. When we work together, amazing things happen. We work together and amazing things happen. But I have to tell you that it wouldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump.
Oh.
Because he just, you know, I met him in Mar-a-Lago. You may remember this because I think you live close by.
Yeah, I'll be back later with Candace. I'm gonna move the time back because I gotta do some stuff.